couple of artists here with us. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Kim. Go ahead.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody, wherever you are. So good to see you, Bronwyn and Caroline and Ludi, Deborah in Kentucky, Susan in Seattle, Ruth in Birmingham in the UK, Gary, and I can't tell where you are from, Gary. It says SOLUT, so I got to see the rest of that. And Bonnie and Christina and Bob in Maryland, Kathleen in Albuquerque, Curly Tops, Trish in Victoria, Kathy in Virginia, Anne in Maryland, Phil and Shizuka in Toronto, Don and Leanne must be in Vermont, and Jenny in Suffolk in the UK, Nancy in Berkeley, Sheila in Florida, and we've got an iPad. I don't know where you're calling in from, but and let's see, Kevin in DC, and Susan, hi, and Dan in Vienna, Kate in Charlottesville, Mabel and Bear in must be Maryland. Oh no, maybe Massachusetts, I think that is. Yes. And Amanda and Miles and Deli and Linda in Concord and Rebecca in Vermont, Jane in Texas, Lynn and Cliff in Vermont, Nancy and Aloysius in Westfield, would that be? And let's see, Hoda in BC, and LMG, and Jane in Maryland, Bob in Massachusetts, Sandy in Western North Carolina, and Linda Rose, yes, and Amos and Anne and Kathy. Good to see you all. Yes, and I'm so glad to be here and coming to you live. What is the day number for today? We're still up in the 900s. So somebody will have to let me know what the day number is for today. So let's see. Today is an exciting day. It's very exciting for me because we have Jim Harkless. Oh, so glad to meet you. I was telling, and I'll call him the way Arnade does, Baba Jim, that I was looking at his biography and listening to his birthday celebration and hearing the recording of Daily Antidote of Song and hearing the Jubilee Singers. It is so exciting to get to meet you in person. Day 925, yes, of the Daily Antidote of Song. It is incredible. So, Baba Jim, what song do you have for us today?
Well, Dr. Kim, thank you very much. And hello to all. This is my family that I have come to be part of over these 925 days. And I'm not a religious person, but I sense that there is a higher power, which I don't understand, and I don't feel the need to do so. But this song is a part of what happens when you are under that guidance. And the song is one I've never done before, but I feel that it's something that is on everyone's mind, and everyone knows it. It's a classic called "Blowin' in the Wind." How many of you know "Blowin' in the Wind"? And we can either sing it together, or you can just join in. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. So are you ready? I don't think we need to practice it. Do you think you need to practice it? So we'll just start along. How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many years must a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? And how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? Yes, and how many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? And how many years must a one man have before he can hear people cry? Yes, and how many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
Mm, thank you. Thank you so much, Baba Jim. And I saw so many people singing and swaying. I mean, that's definitely one of those songs. And yes, you can tell. I don't even want to know what year that was written, but somebody can put that in the chat. What year did Bob Dylan compose that song? Because it's been a couple, 2-3 years. Do you know, Baba Jim, when?
I think it was 1963,
Woo.
which was a very significant year in our history in many ways. And he's just written a new song going back to that year. And his new song is called Murder Most Foul.
Mm.
Is anybody aware of that song? And it's about the Kennedy assassination. It's a powerful song.
Yes. Now, 1963, as I was reading about your life and your various accomplishments, I had so many questions that I wanted to ask you. I know we just get a few in, but what were you doing in 1963?
Well, in 1963, I was working at the National Labor Relations Board as I was the first African American appellate court lawyer at the National Labor Relations Board. I'd come to Washington in '62 from Boston, and 63 was, as you know, was another significant year because the March on Washington was in August of that year, and I was also present at that time, at that fantastic demonstration. So that's what I was doing.
That's what you were doing. I know. I was not. I was a very young person, 1963, because I was born in 57, and my sister and I were watching the March on Washington on TV, and my father was there, and she kept poking at the screen, trying to see if she could see my father in the crowd. And my mom and I still always laugh, but and say, yes, there you were poking at the screen, back when there were only 3 channels on TV. Oh my goodness gracious. But okay, so that was 63. But I was also amazed as I read, Baba Jem, about you being not only at Harvard, which I'm sure has its own many stories, but also in the Harvard Glee Club. And you said you were the first African American in the Harvard Glee Club?
No, I don't. I wasn't the first African American, but I was the only one in the Glee Club. There had been several before me. They weren't Harvard from the mid 19th century, around 1857, I think it was. A man by the name of, I think, Henry Greener, or was the first Harvard graduate. And his daughter has become a famous person because I think she was the librarian of J.P. Morgan. Many people probably have read that book of the librarian that's come out recently. People did not know that she was African American when she was this librarian. But from the time that he was admitted to Harvard up until I entered, there were probably no more than about 100 or so African Americans who had attended Harvard College. And there had been at least one member of the Glee Club before me in the 1940s. Mm. I was the only one. There were only 4 African Americans in my class of 1952. We just had our 70th reunion. I wasn't able to attend, but traditionally at the Harvard reunions, the five-year reunions, they have a memorial service, and traditionally I had sung at the memorial service. And they sent a video of the memorial that they did this year. My best friend, Richard Sogg from Los Gatos, who lives in Los Gatos, California. He's a great, wonderful pianist. He played the piano. In fact, he played the piano in Oedipus Rex. And he attended the reunion, and he told me, and I saw later that during the memorial service, they remembered me and was sorry that I wasn't. I usually sang 2 songs, Come Down, O Love Divine, and a spiritual.
Uh-huh. Yes. What spiritual would you sing? I mean, I know you sang it.
I think I probably sang. I used to sing "Let Us Break Bread Together on Our Knees," which I actually sang at the celebration of my daughter's life last August in Cambridge. My wonderful daughter Marianne unfortunately died. Oh. And I did, but I'm not sure that I've mentioned here. I did mention to you earlier that although I was the only African American member of the Glee Club in my freshman year, the conductor recruited this Black student that he'd heard of in Fisk University to come and become a graduate student at Harvard and music, Oscar Henry. And he then became the second member of the Glee Club. And in our senior year, we performed Stravinsky's Oedipus Rex. And Oscar was the tenor. I don't know if any of you know that wonderful. It's surprising that it isn't performed more often because it's a great work of art of the 20th century. And I was the narrator, and Oscar was the lead tenor at Oedipus Rex. Eunice Alberts, actually, who went on to become she was a professional singer then, and she actually sang with the New York Opera and Met. She was the alto in that, and we actually performed it with the Boston Symphony and the Buffalo Philharmonic also.
Yes. Now you said you went on tour. How often would the Glee Club go on tour? Was that every year that you did that?
Yeah, well, we had a spring tour every year. One of my most memorable experiences was one year we sang in New York at Carnegie Hall, and I sang a solo. I still call the Yalls, which is a Scottish folk song. Ah, the Yalls, take the nods, call them where the heather grows. Call them where the heather grows, my bonny dear. And to sing in Carnegie Hall, it's just the acoustics there are just so fantastic. Your voice just goes up
Oh
forever.
my! Now, what would be a translation of what you were singing? That's
Don't ask me that.
okay. All right, I'll go online and check that out myself.
That was a long time ago.
But you still remember it, right?
Yes, I was training. I was training.
That's fantastic. Well, you want to sing "Blowin' in the Wind" again for us and with us? That would be fantastic.
I don't know if there are any questions. I can't see the
chat. All right. So
chat.
let's look into the chat. And somebody put in Bob from Massachusetts. I guess part of the translation for that song we're singing is "Call the Use."
Oh, all right. Thank you, Bob. Bob and Mabel have a connection, I think, to Harvard.
Oh, and then I hear that Baba Jim did on the tour. Were you the Harvard Glee Club president?
Yes, the senior year, I was the first African American president of the Glee Club. On one of our sessions, I had told, I didn't get a chance to tell him again this time. I for some reason or other, at my age, and in retirement, I have a very busy schedule. Kathy mentioned just the other day that Jubilee Voices sang at a historic Black church in McLean, Virginia, last Saturday. And Kathy, I think, was with us today. I think she also came to the Christmas Revels, the show. I think that's when I first met her. She was at that historic church, which it was started in the 1890s by a former enslaved persons. And there was one descendant there at the performance of a member of the congregation. And then there were other people from McLean. McLean is a very relatively well-off suburb of Washington, D.C. and McLean, Virginia. And two of the people who actually were instrumental in saving the church when the congregation went away in the 1950s, Gail and John Niels are Washington Revels people. They live in the area, and they were instrumental in seeing that the church was preserved. And they have an annual celebration, and Jubilee Voices went there, and we had a wonderful uh, reunion. There were uh, people also from the Black congregations in that area who came, and they were very elated to. It actually it was a majority white audience. It's a small church, but it was filled up, and we had a joyful Saturday. The weather was beautiful, and it was just a great day.
Great. I actually saw some pictures of that. And I was so sorry that I missed October 15th there, but it looked wonderful. So I'm glad that you got a chance to do that. So that is fantastic. And yes, hearing the Jubilee Voices singing together, that's wonderful. So all
And,
right, so let's
so Kevin from DC has just put in that it's Robert Burns. Kali Yaz apparently is Robert Burns. I'm trying to read it quickly. But,
yes. Call the Oz. A Scottish folk song. Yes.
all right, let's go back to
All
Blowin'
right,
in
so
the
Blowin' in the Wind. All right, here we
Is
go.
everybody ready?
Yes.
How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. And yes, how many years must a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? And how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? Yes, and how many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many times must a man look up and before he can see the sky? And how many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry? Yes, and how many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. And the truth is all around us, and we just have to see it and acknowledge it.
Absolutely. I found myself as you were singing, and yes, Nancy, every line is still pertinent, of wondering to myself, how many times will we have to keep singing that song and have every line still be pertinent? Because it surely is. Well, it is fantastic to get a chance to be with you here. I'm so glad that we got to officially meet.
And I have a few good, really special friends, and they're Amanda and Miles. Miles is my good buddy, and the Curly Tops are my good buddies in Vermont. And I particularly love the kids.
Well, that is fantastic. So here on day 925 5 of the daily antidote of song. This has been wonderful. And everybody, great way to start the day for some of you, a great way to end the day. Some of you, great day in the middle of the day. So thank you so much for being a part of today. And thank you, Jaden, for your tech support. Oh, excuse me, date. I'm writing this down, 926. Okay. There we go. The days just keep clicking along. So thanks so much. And thank you to Baba Jim. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So fantastic, everybody. And we'll look forward to the next time, whenever that would be. Yes.
Dr. Kim will usually say individual goodbyes. Do you want to do them?
I know. So I'm getting ready to do it. I got myself on full screen here to make sure I can see where everybody's from. This is a little bit better. So goodbye to Amanda and Miles in Michigan, and Lynn and Cliff in Vermont, and Cricket. Goodbye. And Hoda in where? I don't know how to say that. Karaxit and Cynics. I will have to get that organized so I can say that better. And Susan in Tacoma Park, and Trish in Victoria. Now let me get on over to the next page. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Now, for some reason, my Zoom doesn't want to go to the next page. Hey, Jaden, can you help me out? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. It could be. Let's see.
You can also look at the participants list and say goodbye that way if it's a little
there you go. I think that's a good idea. Thank you. See, Jaden always comes in, sort of saves me on that. Anne from Maryland, and Annette, Bob from Massachusetts, Bonnie and Ione, Caroline in DC, Christine and Bob in Maryland, of course, the curly tops, Dan in Vienna, Deborah in Kentucky, Diane and Don and Leanna in Vermont, Fred in Silver Spring, and Gary, the solution finders. Yes. And a couple of iPads. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Jamie in Victoria, BC, Jane in Texas, Jane in Maryland, Jenny in Suffolk, UK, Kate in Florida, Kate in Charlottesville, Kathleen in Albuquerque, Kathy in Virginia, Linda in Concord, LMG, yes, and Luda and Mark in Victoria, Lynn and Cliff in Vermont, Mabel and Bear in Massachusetts, and Martha, Nancy in Berkeley, and Nancy, all the Nancys, Phil and Shizuka in Thomas, UK, Rebecca in Vermont, Ruth in Birmingham, UK, Sheila in Florida, Storm in the Zoomiverse, Susan G, Susan in Seattle, and Susan in Tacoma Park, Trish in Victoria, and Kevin in DC. Absolutely. I hope that you all have a great day today. And thanks again, Baba Jim. Thank you so, so much. And thanks everybody for being here. Day 926 draws to a close. And thanks again, Jaden. So take care, everybody.